Okay, let's dive in. Imagine this. You get a call, totally out of the blue,
Yeah.
but it's not, a friendly chat. It's
Uh,
it's an immediate demand, life or death. Your sister needs a kidney, and
Yeah.
apparently you're the only one who can possibly help.
Wow. Yeah, that's intense right off the bat. Especially you mentioned from a family you haven't spoken to in years.
Exactly. It's the kind of thing that just hits you like a ton of bricks, particularly when the family asking, well, let's just say the history there is complicated. More grievances than support, it sounds like.
And what really strikes me is that contrast, the absolute seriousness of the medical need versus, well, the apparent lack of concern for any boundaries that might exist.
Right.
It throws you straight into this situation where this huge sacrifice is just expected from someone clearly distanced.
Yeah. It suggests a pattern, maybe, expectations without considering her side of things at all.
Definitely highlights that.
So, okay, for this deep dive, we're looking at a really powerful story. It's a personal account from Reddit, the Family Tales section.
Ah, okay. Those can be quite raw.
They really can. And this one
Mhm.
unpacks years of what she feels is, well, mistreatment, neglect, favoritism. It all comes to a head with this huge life-altering request.
So our goal here, for you listening,
Right. Our mission today is to get under the skin of this. We're not just recounting what happened. We want to understand the family dynamics,
hmm,
the really deep-seated stuff.
the weight of memory, right? How past experiences shape this massive decision.
Exactly. And the clash between, personal boundaries and what families sometimes expect, it's way more than just a medical story.
And if you think about it, the way it starts the sister's health crisis happening alongside this, like, collective forgetting of the past.
Forgetting or ignoring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe ignoring. It really sets the scene, doesn't it? It's like the current emergency just wipes the slate clean, at least for some of them.
It brings up that whole idea of how families sometimes rewrite history, to fit what they need right now. Selective memory.
Absolutely. A convenient narrative.
And the narrator's voice in the post, it's so sharp. There's this dark humor almost. She says their family glue wasn't love, it was guilt,
Oof. That tells you a lot right there.
doesn't it? And she calls herself a walking spare part. It's brutal, but it instantly shows you how she believes she's viewed.
Which leads straight to that core question. What is family obligation? I mean, how far does it extend, especially when the relationship history is, well, like this?
Exactly. And the examples she gives of how she was treated before, they become crucial. They're the context for her reaction now.
They really are. You need that backstory.
And those examples, they are so specific. The sister, Emma, she's clearly the favorite, always, gets the summer camp money, gets bailed out after dropping out of college.
Well, the narrator's own successes are just met with silence.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It paints a very clear picture. That whole golden child versus, well, the other child dynamic.
It's a classic, sadly common pattern. And what's really insightful is how she explicitly links that past favoritism to this current demand.
That phrase the mother apparently uses. It's
Yeah.
the least you can do.
Oh, yeah. And that phrase just sums up their whole skewed perspective, doesn't it? It completely dismisses everything the narrator experienced, being overlooked, undervalued, again and again.
And it wasn't just about money or things, was it? It was emotional, too.
Oh, definitely.
The stories about being blamed for things, feeling invisible. Like that time at the retirement party she mentions. These aren't huge dramatic events on their own, maybe?
But they add up. They accumulate over a lifetime into this really profound sense of being marginalized within her own family.
Yeah. You can see it in her internal thoughts in the post. She knows this is her role in the family, the fallback, the one whose feelings don't really count.
Her reaction to the phone call itself, spilling the coffee, that frozen moment, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? It's like this deep, ingrained response, almost weary, like, here we go again.
Yes, like it's just another imposition she's supposed to absorb.
But then she doesn't just say no, which is interesting.
Right. That's where it gets complicated. Despite all this history, all this hurt, she actually calls the hospital. She asks about getting tested.
There's a deliberateness there. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction. It suggests she's thinking strategically.
Yeah, she even says something like she felt calm as ever, which is striking.
It points to a learned response, maybe? She mentions later that showing vulnerability in her family was basically punished, so she learned to be guarded, controlled.
Keep your cards close to your chest.
Exactly.
And that decision to get tested, she frames it like the first move in a long chess game. That's pretty telling.
It really is. It's clear she's not just complying. She has her own reasons, her own end game, perhaps.
And it seems connected to how differently everyone remembers the past, or chooses to remember it.
That contrast is fascinating. Her memories are so vivid, so detailed. The science project, the stolen bracelet incident, prom night.
Painful stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
These aren't just small things to her. They're landmark events that shaped how she sees herself in this family, while the rest of them seem almost oblivious.
Which is a key part of dysfunctional families, right? Everyone having their own completely different version of the family history.
Absolutely. Selective memory, or maybe just a total lack of empathy for her perspective.
And she uses that black sheep analogy.
Yes, which is so potent. It's not always about doing something wrong. Sometimes it's just about not being the favored one, not fitting the mold.
The way mistakes were handled differently. Her sister gets excused, she gets excluded. It really highlights how arbitrary those roles can be.
And how unequal the support and forgiveness is. She was never given the same benefit of the doubt, the same grace.
No wonder there's resentment, a deep sense of injustice.
It completely shapes her response. So she goes ahead with the testing, but her internal thoughts make it crystal clear. Her reasons are not what her family thinks. I said yes, but not for the reasons they believe.
Ooh, chills. Right. It's dripping with foreshadowing. She's playing a part, going through the motions, being the good daughter, while this other plan is forming.
And the way she describes getting the test results, like a bomb with no ticking sound, that's powerful imagery.
It really is. Suddenly, she has this information, this power that could change everything. And she holds on to it, keeps it secret.
The detail about writing the letter, how meticulous she was.
Yeah.
It shows how significant this planned confrontation is for her.
And that letter, wow, 7 pages.
7 pages detailing a lifetime of feeling wronged. Not really for them, maybe, but for herself. A way to finally say it all.
Catharsis. And a declaration like, this is my truth.
The tension she describes building up before the planned surgery day, you can almost feel it. That phrase, perilously near to ecstasy.
Yeah, what an unusual way to put it.
It speaks to the sheer sense of empowerment she feels, finally being in control, being able to confront them on her terms. It's not just about the kidney anymore, it's about reclaiming her agency.
Which has been denied for so long.
Exactly.
So then they get to the hospital scene, the pre-op waiting room. It's almost like a stage set, isn't it?
It really is. The whole family's gathered expecting one outcome, completely unaware of what's about to hit them.
And her description of their faces as she starts reading that letter. The shock, the dawning horror, the tears. It's the unveiling of a truth they never wanted to see.
And what's crucial is her insistence on being heard, finally. When she tells Emma, you've had a lifetime of speaking first.
That really lands. It sums up the whole power imbalance.
It does. Reading that letter out loud in front of everyone, it's her reclaiming her voice, demanding they acknowledge her pain.
And then the climax of the letter, the bit she delivers into that stunned silence.
Yeah.
I'm a perfect match, but I choose not to donate because I'm done being the body you throw under the bus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That carries the weight of everything, doesn't it? Years of resentment, finally saying no more, asserting that boundary loud and clear.
And the aftermath, she describes the mother's fury, Emma's collapse.
Yeah.
It's maybe predictable, given the history.
Probably. From a family used to getting their way, used to her compliance. Her quiet statement afterwards, this makes me free. That feels like the real core of it for her. Liberation.
It's incredibly powerful. But then comes the twist.
Yes. The final piece of the puzzle.
The detail she kept back, even from the reader until the very end. She wasn't actually a match at all.
Right. She couldn't have donated even if she'd wanted to.
Which just changes everything, doesn't it?
It adds this whole other layer. It shifts her refusal from being purely an emotional act, a rebellion,
to something much more strategic, calculated even, and ultimately maybe self-protective.
Exactly. By letting them believe she was a match, by letting them believe she chose not to save her sister based on their past treatment.
She forces them to confront it, to really sit with the consequences of their actions in a way they probably never would have otherwise.
It's profound. If she'd just said, sorry, not a match, they could have just moved on, maybe felt briefly sorry for her, and the dynamic wouldn't have fundamentally shifted.
But this way, destroying the results, letting them ponder and whisper, as she puts it.
It flips the script. The burden of guilt, the what-ifs, it lands squarely back on them, the burden she carried for years.
So, wrapping this up, this deep dive into the Reddit post, it really shows us a compelling story. Long-term emotional mistreatment, complex family ties.
Yeah, the impact of that favoritism, the neglect, it's palpable. And the lengths someone might go to reclaim their sense of self, their agency, within a really difficult family system.
So, just to recap the key takeaways for you listening, we saw this deep history of perceived favoritism, right? And neglect,
Right.
and how that shaped the narrator's life.
Which led to this almost casual expectation from the family for a massive sacrifice of a kidney.
Then we saw her internal conflict, but also her very calculated response, seeming to go along with it.
Playing the long game.
Right. Leading up to that incredibly dramatic confrontation in the hospital, where she delivers her refusal based on what they thought was the medical reality.
And then, boom, the final twist. The truth that she wasn't actually a match anyway, which reframes her entire strategy.
It was full of unexpected moments, wasn't it? The mother's attitude, the sister's behavior, the narrator's incredibly sharp memory for past hurts.
Definitely. That hospital scene was high drama, but the final reveal about the blood type, that's the real shocker. It forces you to rethink everything.
So for you, listening at home or wherever you are, we hope digging into the story offered some food for thought about family dynamics, which can be so complicated.
About how powerful memory is and how different people in the same family can remember things so differently.
And that constant balancing act, right, between obligation, what we feel we should do, and self-preservation, what we need to do for ourselves.
Which leads us to a final thought, something for you to maybe mull over. Think about the unspoken stories, the hidden narratives that might exist in your own family relationships.
Yeah. How do things from the past, big things, small things, still echo in the present? How do they shape how you interact, the decisions you make?
And maybe ask yourself, what does family obligation truly mean? Where's the line? When is it okay, even necessary, to put your own well-being first, even when faced with intense pressure?